Hello guys, this is Doronsmovies and you're watching World of Warcraft lore Q&A number 35. So today I'll be answering some of the questions you guys left on the previous videos, and if you would like to get your questions answered, make sure to put them on the newest Q&A lore videos. I also see the ones that you post on the older ones, but sometimes I forget about them, but in this way I can just check the newest Q&A video and see all the questions. So make sure to put them on the newest Q&A lore videos. If you posted them before, just post them again. Also, you can send your questions by YouTube personal messages and Facebook and Twitter, and I will probably respond to your questions. If I don't respond in a Q&A, I will probably respond to your Facebook and Twitter questions by message. So, without further ado, let's just start. So, Ruler of All Bananas asks, where is Maiev and Akama now? They kind of just disappeared when we defeated Illidan. And second question, in the End Time dungeon we defeated Murozond, Nozdormu's corrupted self, after abusing his powers. But how does he become Murozond by abusing his powers, since the aspects lost their powers after we killed Deathwing? So I believe I explained this on a few occasions before. It was on the stream as well, but I believe in a few videos. But pretty much everything was explained in detail in Wolfheart, the novel about Maiev. Now, she returned to Darnassus after all the Burning Crusade events and was there with her Watchers, and then the Highborn wanted to join up the Night Elves. There was an entire storyline, like 10,000 years after, the Highborn wanted to rejoin the Night Elves again, and not many of them were there. Then there was a lot of drama going about it. Some people still hated them, some actually wanted them to join. They said that they were peaceful, they wanted to join, and a few of them were actually found dead. And also, before that happened, Jared, which is Maiev's brother, returned. He brought his wife for Tyrande to help her, but she couldn't. But he returned after around 10,000 years ago, and I believe he was also in the War of the Ancients books. And he came back after all that time, and then they gave him the task to find the killer along with his sister Maiev. So they were working together. He later on found out that Maiev was actually the serial killer and was actually behind all of this. And she also after that kidnapped Malfurion. And then there was like this huge fight and a lot of stuff happened, and she managed to escape. But no one has seen her since, so no one really knows where she is now. I'll probably make a video soon, maybe covering Wolfheart. I read it ages ago. I usually, once I reread the book or just go through it again, I make a video. So once I go through Wolfheart again, I'll probably make a summary video, just the same way as I made for the War Crimes novel or for the Shattering. And for the Akama thing, well, not all that much actually happened with him since the Burning Crusade. Well, at least nothing really major that was super storyline related, but he joined Brawler's Guild, and after that he also took a part in the Green Fire questline, and then he got back to the Black Temple as well. I believe he's rebuilding it, but I can't really give you full details on this because I've never really played a Warlock and I haven't done the quest myself, but I read about it and watched a few parts of it, so I'm not really the best guy to ask on that. But as far as I know, he's at the Black Temple now, since Illidan is not there anymore. Okay, and for the third question, well, I'm not really certain on that, but from what I can tell, he was actually the end boss of the End Time instance, which was actually a build-up for the Deathwing fight. So it was before the entire Deathwing thing. I mean, Deathwing was there, but before the actual fight, the final one. And the aspects actually lost their powers after that, from what I know, and this happened before that, so that is pretty much my answer, I guess, because it happened before they lost their powers. And the next question is by Yosef, and he asks, I was wondering why Azeroth didn't split apart after killing C'Thun or Yogg-saron. Nothing happened to Northrend or Kalimdor, while in Pandaria when the Titans killed Y'Shaarj, Pandaria had Shah everywhere. So my question is, are Yogg-saron and C'Thun dead? Right, so I'm not really a huge fan of answering these sort of questions when it comes to like old gods or titans, because there is so much stuff that is unknown about them, and there is like this whole gray zone around them, if you could say that. And it's not like we have an exact storyline, like a full written book that explains what happened, so there is a lot of speculation when it comes to that, and I don't even believe that people on Azeroth know what happened. And a lot of people have different opinions on it, and a lot of stuff can actually change. I believe Blizzard can evolve a lot on that idea, so I will try to give it a shot, I guess, to answer your question. So from what I understood, C'Thun was apparently just beaten, and he is still alive, so he isn't like dead like Y'Shaarj is. And I actually believe that the old gods are killable, and I know I said in previous videos that they aren't, but it can actually make sense when you think about it. I mean, when Titans killed Y'Shaarj, he did like this final attack thing and infused the entire continent of Pandaria with the Sha. So I feel like they have this thing that could like ruin the entire world potentially if the Titans are trying to grow it. So they had to be really careful when handling the old gods because they can pretty much ruin everything they're trying to work on. So I feel that is why they actually imprisoned them and didn't like kill them. And I think they actually saw the mistake with Y'Shaarj once he did that on Pandaria, and then after that they started imprisoning them and not like killing them. Now the rest of the old gods should be imprisoned and are still actually in Azeroth, and from what I know there is that guy under Val'kyr that corrupted the Naga and the Deathwing. There is also Yogg-saron in the north, in Northrend. There is also C'Thun all the way down there on Kalimdor, and I don't think there is anyone in Eastern Kingdom. That's probably something different, so no one really knows what it is right now. But from what I know, as your question was, is C'Thun dead? No, he isn't, and Yogg-saron isn't dead as well. They're just beaten, and will probably return at some point. It just depends if it's really relevant to the current story or the expansion that is around that time. Okay, next question is by BellenNewsX, and he asks, what will we find if we journey to the western sea of Kalimdor? Just an ordinary sea, or something that Blizzard never mentioned? Azeroth is a round planet, and we never see the other half of the Azeroth's ocean other than on the map. Alright, so this is actually an interesting question, and I believe that red shirt guy actually asked this on BlizzCon, I believe last year or the year before that, I'm not really certain, but he asked Chris Metzen and he said that there might actually be something on the side. I think he didn't ask about the western part, I believe he asked what is below Azeroth. And Chris Metzen actually said that they made a mistake when they made all those globes of Azeroth in Ulduar, because it was like an environmental piece, like an artistic expression, not really something lore relevant or just something that represents the actual story. So I think it is entirely possible that there is another continent below or on the side of Azeroth that we don't really know of, and I'm pretty sure that Blizzard is just holding that so they can use it for some expansion, as that definitely has a lot of potential. I mean, they can just think of an entire new continent or an entire new storyline that is actually on the same world that we are at right now. Now, even if you look at the map, I mean, we only see Kalimdor and Eastern Kingdoms, the thing in the middle, pretty much Maelstrom and Northrend and Pandaria, but we don't see anything else, and that doesn't even mean that there isn't anything there. It just means that from what we have seen right now, that is what we know of. Like, it's the same as in real world history, for example. We only knew of like Europe when it was at the time, so that's how the world map looked until they found out the entire world, how it looks. So I'm guessing there's going to be something on those sides of the world. Okay, next, Gregory asks, as you know, in Mists of Pandaria, at the end of the Panda starting zone, you can choose your faction, Horde/Alliance. My first question is, do you think this type of a feature could be done for all races, and how would the races react to this, if so? Also, do you have any ideas for future race class combo? So I don't really think it can actually like be done for all of the races, as it won't honestly make any sense. For example, Orc in the Alliance or a Human in the Horde zone, which would just kind of be a complete story killer. It wouldn't make any sense. Could work gameplay wise, but even then, like, it would be really weird. But I believe actually this feature has a lot of potential that they introduced with Pandaren. Now, they could definitely do that with all the new races that they could add. For example, if we get the Tuskarr or any other sort of like these neutral races that don't have any connections with the Alliance or the Horde, so this kind of a feature can actually work. Like, I'm guessing the Tuskarr are a huge race that can be actually added, for example, since they have like all these classes, lore and everything, and they aren't connected to either the Horde or the Alliance, so they could work the same way as the Pandaren. Although, for example, the Ogres can, because Ogres are generally with the Horde. I mean, there are actually a few tribes that came with Rexxar when he overtook the tribe. They're actually a part of the Horde, we just don't see them, but they should be like working with the Horde, even though they're kinda small. Also, I'm not really certain on the race class combos. I mean, I guess that depends if we get a new race. But if you're talking about the current races getting new classes, I really don't see much they can do. So far, I believe it's pretty complete from what I've seen, but I don't think I checked out every single race and saw all the classes there, so I'm not really certain, but I believe it's pretty balanced out at the moment. Alright, and the last question is by Siegfried or Siegfried, and he asks, Who rules the zone of the ruins of the Scarlet Enclave, the Scourge or the Ebon Blade? And can the Val'kyr turn any race into the undead like they did with all those Dead Knights? Or now that they no longer have artists to power them, can they only do humans or blood elves? And last one, all the green goo that we see in the Scourge buildings and in Undercity, is that liquid plague, right? Alright, so if you're talking about that zone that was actually like the starter zone for the Dead Knights, the Scarlet Enclave thing that was under the Scarlet Crusade, I believe that was like completely ruined and overrun by the Scourge, so everything was pretty much destroyed. But from what I've seen, there aren't really any towns there or any settlements right now, except for the Light's Hope Chapel that is on the other side. But I mean, you can fight some Ebon Blade banners there, so it probably means that they took that territory and they're probably rebuilding it. We just can't see it in the game. They haven't added anything relevant to it. But I guess if Blizzard decides to do something about it, it will probably be rebuilt and could be like a base of the Ebon Blade or something. Okay, and the second question. Well, I do believe that they can, and I don't think it's like a limit. For example, they can just raise humans or elves as they used to, for example, turn all races into Dead Knights, as they did actually used to turn all of the races into Dead Knights, so I don't see why they would get like this limitation all of a sudden. And you might think that because they raised the Forsaken, they can only do humans and blood elves, but generally that's pretty much what is in game. I mean, the Forsaken are pretty much just, we just have the human models. That doesn't really mean all of the Forsaken look like that. It just means that are the current models we have. And I do believe that the Val'kyr can raise pretty much anyone that is living or just a mortal. Alright, and for the last question, well, I'm not really certain what the green goo thing is. I personally believe it's just like an artistic expression, the same way as I mentioned with the globes in Ulduar, and I believe it's just there to present that the Scourge and all of the undead are kind of disgusting and wild with the green, disgusting stuff. I believe that's just the entire point of it, but I'm not really certain if it's plague in liquid form, because as far as I know, the plague pretty much looks like, it's like in these clouds, sort of clouds thing, and it's also related to those mushrooms as well, that you can see in the Eastern Plaguelands, so it can actually be fungal as well from what I understood. Alright, and that is all I have for now. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to leave your questions either by YouTube Q&A comment section, YouTube personal messages, and Facebook or Twitter. And again, thanks so much for taking your time to watch this video. Don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. See you next time.